Welcome into the Sporting News Studios, talking a little NFL with our editor, Scott Ridge. I'm Tom Vandervoort. That's Stephen Levine. Scott, 2 weeks into the NFL season, we got a bunch of 1-1 teams. We also have a bunch of 2-0 teams and a bunch of 0-2 teams. Let's look at the 2-0 teams first. And I ask you, of the 2-0 teams, who is the worst 2-0 team? We got 7 of them.
The worst of the best.
The worst of the best.
Worst of the best.
All right.
America's not going to like hearing this because they are certainly a feel-good story, but the worst 2-0 team in the NFL right now is the Buffalo Bills.
Really?
Oh, man.
I know.
They've been scoring points, though,
They got a quarterback from Harvard.
Yeah, he's smarter than
right.
anybody.
You know what? They're going to play the Patriots this weekend. That's going to be a huge test for them. The other team in the discussion is the Washington Redskins.
Yep.
So you compare them side by side, and they're very, very, very close. I think quarterbacks about equal, Grossman and Fitzpatrick. Both teams can run the ball well. It comes down to, in my mind, better weapons in Washington with their receivers and a little bit better defense right now. They also play in a very competitive division. Not that the AFC East isn't at the top anyway, but I think this weekend you're going to really see if Buffalo is a team that's on the rise or just has a couple of pretty good wins early on.
Well, what do you want to see? I mean, obviously New England's going to be the favorite in this game, but what does Buffalo have to do in this game to prove to you they're the real deal?
Any team that faces New England has to slow Tom Brady somehow,
Good
some
luck.
way. Good luck. You know what? Buffalo's secondary is, we'll see.
It's the pass rush, though, man. You can't let Tom Brady stand back there and pick it apart.
They gave up
30. Help it.
Right. They gave up 35 points to Oakland, and it's not like Jason Campbell is being associated with a guy like Tom Brady. Granted, he can be a good quarterback at times, but their bread and butter is running the game. Tom Brady is going to throw all over the place against Buffalo. It wouldn't surprise me if they get to 40 points and above pretty easily against the Bills this weekend.
It wouldn't surprise me either to see the Bills move the ball a little bit on New England.
They can run the ball, and they got a little bit of depth there. Jackson and Spiller has had some moments so far early in the season, and you know what? That's a key to success for any team that's a little bit limited with receivers, which Buffalo is, and Fitzpatrick is still kind of growing into that, you know, I'm the guy role this year with Buffalo. He's playing for a contract, and he's playing very well, but it wasn't that long ago where he was backing up a lot of quarterbacks in this league, so he's getting an opportunity, making the most of it. I hate to say it, though, of the 2-0 teams, they are the bottom one right now.
Well, you know, the Washington Redskins were a team Sporting News picked to go 2-14, so they're a lot better than that at this point.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't have discounted what Mike Shanahan said this offseason, and basically his point was between Grossman and Beck, I'll take either one of those guys as opposed to the rookie class coming into the NFL, with the exception of Cam Newton, who was the #1 overall pick. So Shanahan's had success in the past. It's been a while since he's done it without a proven quarterback, but we know he finds a way to move the ball on the ground, and that cures a lot of ills for offenses and defenses, too, when you can control the clock.
And you talk about a franchise with a tradition maybe of doing things with quarterbacks that aren't too well known before they get to Washington.
It's the Redskins way, isn't it? Yeah, it is. But I thought Beck was actually the better quarterback in preseason. Now, Grossman has played well in the first 2 games, so I think Shanahan is pretty happy with what he's seen so far from Washington.
All right, so we've talked about the 2-0 teams and which of those teams might be a little vulnerable. Let's talk about the other side of the coin, the 0-2 teams, and which of those teams could maybe turn it around and start moving into a more positive direction. Carolina's turned some heads, basically because of Cam Newton. You've got the Vikings, you've got the Dolphins. Which of those 0-2 teams do you think can turn it around?
When in doubt, look at the quarterback position. Of the 0-2 teams, I think it's St. Louis because of Sam Bradford. Bradford didn't have his top receiver and top running back in the Monday night game, but going forward, he'll get those weapons back. I think the upside with Bradford, considering who they play in that division, St. Louis has the best chance to come out of that funk early on. You know, it's a tough schedule for them in the early going. They're going to struggle early on. But of all the teams that are 0-2 right now, only St. Louis, in my mind, has a chance at the playoffs still.
Well, you know, you look at St. Louis, and that Giant game was a good example of a young team making a bunch of young mistakes. You know, they moved the ball okay, but they had key penalties, couldn't get it into the end zone when they got into the red zone. And so I just feel like there are a lot of pieces in St. Louis still, and they've shown enough that you feel like there's something there.
Yeah, and ironically, one of their biggest mistakes in that game was committed by a veteran, Cadillac Williams, when he didn't go after the ball thinking it was an incomplete pass in a lateral. So it was just really errors that are correctable that did in St. Louis. Spagnuolo is a good coach. He's going to get that turned around, I believe. So St. Louis, look at the division, like I said. I think they got the best shot at turning it around.
All right, that's our look at the NFL after 2 weeks of play, heading into Week 3 with Scott Ridge and Stephen Levine. I'm Tom Vandervoort. We'll see you next time.